You were just a scrap collector roaming the streets, yet you're live streaming and stealing business from arms dealers. You even brag that if the price is right, let alone 5th-gen fighters, you could even build an electromagnetic railgun. It's because I transmigrated and awakened a military-industrial system 2 years ago. As long as I consume SOC value, I can generate all kinds of epic-making weapons. That's why I started live streaming on Live, relying on memories 2 years ahead of the current version to calm man on the international situation. I hope to find a wealthy patron, but the viewers just treated me like a clown. Just when I thought I'd go back to collecting scrap, the system notifications in my chat went wild. 1,000 plain gift effects flooded the screen. Seeing the endless trim of gifts, the viewers who were laughing earlier were all stunned. No way, is someone actually falling for this? Right at that moment, the user head-wrapped started typing slowly. Streamer, no trouble. Start making firearms. We want to buy in bulk. Name your price. The stuttering text didn't look like a prank. Combined with the username head-wrapped, that's clearly one of those Middle Eastern oil tycoons. I have to treat this patron well. As for the police coming for illegal weapon manufacturing, I wasn't worried at all. When the Middle Eastern client asked for a live demo, I'd already verified it through the system. Weapons produced by the military industrial base, as long as I spend SOC value, can be delivered directly to the target area. Even if I assembled a tank on camera, it would be sent to the buyer before the police arrived. Since there's no evidence on site, why worry about a police interrogation? As for SOC value, according to the system, I get it automatically whenever I SOC people, and the wider the impact, the more SOC value the system collects. After confirming the system's power, I ignored the viewer's mockery and greeted the Middle Eastern client instead. Dear patron, please state your requirements. The client slowly typed out a few lines. Rapid fire, aimable, high lethality. Isn't that just an AK-47? Spending 100k just to build a cheap AK. He's truly a rich fool. Thinking why not take the easy money? I sent a message back. Your requirements can be fully met, but for only 100k, that's a bit difficult for me. Hearing my serious, troubled tone, the client ignored the viewer's warnings. Still acting like a rich fool, willing to be scammed. Streamer, what amount do you think is appropriate? I calculated and blurted out 1 million UETD. The client transferred the money without hesitation and told me to handle the rest. Facing such trust, I quickly searched for rapid fire, aimable, high lethality weapons. Soon, the specs for a multi-tube light rocket launcher appeared on the public screen. Viewers instantly spammed question marks. Is this a handheld firearm? 20 tube launchers would turn someone into a beehive. 107mm caliber rockets? Streamer, you call this high lethality? One shot would blast someone into dust. Despite the viewers' crazed questioning, I messaged the client again. Sorry, dear patron, for 1 million UETD, I can only provide rapid fire and high lethality. If you want a targeting scope, you'll need to pay more. Money is no object. The client was clearly satisfied with the specs. Even his typing speed increased. Seeing that, I immediately posted the upgraded version with detailed specs on the screen. Now, the viewers' doubts and sarcastic comments were no longer just dense. They were refreshing like a mudslide. Streamer, can you be a bit more realistic? Charging 1 million for a rifle is one thing, but calling a rocket launcher a rifle? We let that slide, but now you're telling us the rocket pods contain suicide drones with a 10 kilometers range and a drone hive with manual and auto-targeting? This kind of drone hive, let alone a bullshitting streamer like you, even globally, aside from major powers like China, even strong military nations can't build this. Strangely, no matter how the viewers question Lin Hao, that Middle Eastern oil tycoon showed absolute trust in this small Chinese streamer thousands of kilometers away. This equipment has high mobility, strong guerrilla performance, and range, and it can be used in hidden mountains to remotely control enemy units and strike with precision. Good stuff. Truly good stuff. We just need it delivered to the location within 10 days. Can you manage that? Regarding the patron's request, Lin Hao nodded nonchalantly. The patron's needs must be met. But this time, Lin Hao was too excited. The client, whose Chinese improved exponentially, even learned to answer ahead. I think you mean you need more money? Good guy, he's even learning to guess. Adding money for the second time. User head-wrapped. At a price of 20 million UETD. Ordered 10 rapid-fire drone hives and agreed to have them delivered in 10 days. Glancing at the text from an unknown number, Lin Hao confirmed the client was a real tycoon, though the delivery address was surprising. It was for the Houthi rebels in Yemen. The Middle East is truly overflowing with oil. Even the poorest slipper army, with only 1,000 men, could easily pull out 20 million UETD. Although I don't know why this tycoon has such mysterious trust in me, I must serve this patron who will dare to bomb aircraft carriers later. Lin Hao's thoughts were simple and low-key. A Houthi army of only 1,000 could easily send 20 million UETD. If I help them grow stronger, later, they might give me 800 million or a billion, or even oil field mining rights. That would be easy. Most importantly, the poor, technologically backward Houthi rebels could hold the Red Sea entrance and use decades-old equipment to challenge a nuclear-powered carrier. If I use my system to supply them with advanced gear, they might even reach the US mainland, making money, watching the show, and cultivating the Houthi rebels to fight the world's military hegemon, the US. Such a rare opportunity. Of course, using the system to produce 10 drone hives is no difficulty at all. And use the system to transport them to Yemen, the Houthi base, requires a massive amount of SOC value, at 10,000 SOC value per delivery. I need to hoard 100,000 quickly. Glancing at the 20 million UETD in my Otso, Lin Hao didn't hesitate and showed the screen to the camera. Good heavens. The trolls completely sound. I admit, I was too harsh on the streamer before. Brother streamer, do you need a boyfriend? Is money really this easy to make? Just by talking on camera, he made 20 million UETD. That's 140 million RMB. Streamer, do you need a hanger-on? To be honest, I have a sister in high school. Should I introduce you? A patron who brought 140 million. Must have a huge background. I want to see how the streamer ends this.
The mockery in the chat vanished, replaced by pleas for support and begging to be a hanger-on.
Of course, there were jealous trolls
eating sour grapes in just over 10 minutes. But as the tycoon's 100k gift ended, the top channel placement expired,
and new viewers dropped off a cliff.
The SOC value collected
stopped at just over 10,000. Seems like the numbers are too low, but that's so cool.
I still have 10 days.
Live streaming the construction of drone hives.
I don't believe I can't SOC.
These gossiping netizens enough to get the value.
Yemen, Raha City.
A small settlement of over 100,000 people.
Surrounded by mountains on 3 sides,
backing onto the Aden Gulf.
This is where Malik, the Houthi leader, with a force of only 1,000, sat in front of his satellite-linked laptop.
A sharp voice interrupted his thoughts. Chief, we don't mean to question you, but the Turbo Militia has given us an ultimatum.
If we don't surrender in 10 days, they will march in and flatten Raha City.
The speaker was a high-ranking Houthi
with a goat beard. Seeing Malik stop typing, he quickly expressed his opinion. Damn Turbo Militia.
Relying on the us behind them, they've raised an army of 30,000.
With all us-made equipment, and even a dozen M60 tanks, we have no chance of winning.
Even if we retreat to the mountains, with our current military strength, we'll be wiped out sooner or later.
Chief, currently, we have no chance.
Should we just surrender? Malik glanced at the goat-bearded man,
his expression darkening.
Surrender and give Raha City to the Turbo Militia?
The Houthis don't have a tradition of surrendering without a fight.
He glanced at the other dozen high-ranking officials,
all silent and worried. As the leader of this force, the backbone of the army,
Malik forced a smile, trying to comfort them. Don't worry, I've already made contact with a great Eastern power.
In 10 days,
we'll be capable of standing up to the Turbo Militia.
Everyone, rest assured.
What we need to do now is train our troops
and prepare for a fight to the death. Before Malik could finish, the goat-bearded man interrupted him with disdain.
Chief, have you been scared silly by their army?
Contacted a great Eastern power?
And equipment is coming to Raha City? Do you think we don't know that for the past 10 days? You've been glued to a Chinese streamer's channel?
Are you crazy?
We only have less than 30 million UETD left, and you gave 2/3 to the streamer?
Even a fool can see this is a scam. Malik, you should just hand over command. Is just sending them to their deaths.
Hearing that Malik's contact was just sending 20 million to a small Chinese streamer,
the other Houthi leaders changed their expressions. The goat-bearded man, seeing their wavering, continued to pour oil on the fire. The city is surrounded. Not even a bullet can get in. Even if that scammer could make weapons. Tell us, how will they break the blockade?
The Gulf is also blocked by the US fleet.
Even fishing boats can't dock. Sea transport is impossible. The Western-backed forces in Yemen control the air,
so air delivery is also impossible.
Facing the goat-bearded man's questions,
Malik's face was cold. He wasn't a fool.
On the contrary, the Chinese streamer, over the past 10 days,
had provided analysis of the Middle Eastern situation that matched his own predictions perfectly.
This was one of the main reasons he decided to gamble
and trust Lin Hao unconditionally. Furthermore, with the sea, land, and air blocked,
and only 30 million in the bank, without a way to get equipment, the Houthi army was at a dead end. Better to gamble than to wait for death. This streamer, Lin Hao,
since he could analyze the war and future landscape
so incisively,
his promise to build 10 drone hives
had high credibility.
As for how he would build them and how he would bypass the blockade,
Malik didn't know either. The only thing he knew was this was his last straw. If the drone hives arrived on time, he could catch the Turbo Militia off guard. With the firepower of 10 drone hives, the Houthi army could retreat to the mountains
and make the Turbo Militia fear them.
Not daring to attack, they could win breathing room and maybe even grow stronger. If he gambled wrong, the Houthi army would be finished. Bang! Malik slammed the table,
standing up in anger. If you want to surrender,
you can go yourself. The Houthi army I command
will never coexist with the us and the Turbo Militia.
Yemen is our country,
our home. Whoever wants to drive us out
and occupy our home must step over our dead bodies.
Malik coldly glanced at
the goat-bearded man. If you're afraid of death, get out. The Houthis are all brave men, not cowards like you.
As for the streamer from the east,
I believe he won't break his word. This is our last chance. If we fail, we will die for our country.
After speaking, Malik didn't look at the goat-bearded man again
and walked out. He climbed the highest peak nearby,
wanting to catch his breath. Looking out,
he gazed at the countless warships in the Gulf,
hating them in his heart.
If we survive this crisis, even if I only have an old RPG, I will blast the US fleet.
I hope Lin Hao doesn't let me down.
At this moment, the Houthi leader, who would later bomb us carriers,
was filled with infinite hope for Lin Hao, and the seeds of bombing the US fleet were already planted.
Lin Hao is currently worrying at his scrapyard. 10 rapid-fire drone hives are about the size of 10 heavy trucks, wanting to store them in his scrapyard, not to mention attracting attention and bringing the police. His scrapyard couldn't even fit them, and to manufacture them,
the prerequisite is a level 1 military base.
Even without considering future upgrades, a level 1 base
Needs at least the size of 5 or 6 football fields. The military system is basically a scrap refurbishment factory,
though the results are heaven-defying.
From refurbishing toy guns into assault rifles,
to using 100,000-ton scrap ships to create nuclear carriers. The difference is the SOC value required and the base level. Since it's refurbishment,
there must be decent scrap.
According to the system,
just buying steel to build weapons
is impossible. At the same time, old landmines,
with the right amount of system currency
and raw materials,
can be refurbished into new
active detection explosives.
But turning landmines into grenades
or firearms is impossible.
It's all about replenishing form with form.
Lin Hao drew on a piece of paper,
listing the necessary raw materials.
The chassis can use heavy trucks. The rocket pods can be made with steel pipes. Suicide drones need a large number of scrapped drones. As a scrapyard owner,
Lin Hao had many contacts in his phone.
He picked the most capable one and called Uncle Liao. It's Lin Hao, Lin's son. I need to get a batch of goods from you. Recorded the list. Liao Tianhai is a famous scrap dealer in Shilin.
He was busy when he took the call. Hundreds of scrapyards in the city
always sold their scrap to him for unified processing.
Yet the Lin family's tiny scrapyard
was asking him for goods?
That's completely backwards. If it weren't for his long friendship with Lin's father,
he would have thought it was a prank.
Liao Tianhai, suspicious,
after hearing the list,
felt his judgment was correct.
This kid is just bored.
Playing a prank. Scrap truck chassis. These 10-ton monsters
sell for over 20,000 each as scrap, including parts.
Each sells for no less than 50,000.
This kid wants 10.
And 400 large-caliber steel pipes.
All his scrap drones and various scrap metal.
Liao Tianhai did a quick estimate.
This is $1 million deal.
The Lin family's scrapyard
only makes about $1 million a year, with less than 100,000 in profit. Liao Tianhai suppressed his temper and criticized Lin Hao harshly. Lin Hao, you're not a kid anymore. Is playing pranks fun? You're barely dry behind the ears, and you're talking about $1 million deals? Do you want me to call your dad and have him break your legs? 1 million is so cheap. Lin Hao didn't even listen to Liao Tianhai's roar and typed on his computer,
transferring the 1 million via online banking.
Uncle Liao, 1 million sent to your old Sao. The extra is your profit. Liao Tianhai got even angrier.
Is Lin Hao addicted to playing with him?
He just graduated 2 years ago,
helping out at the yard. How could he have 1 million?
He'd eat his own hat before he could finish his oath.
The notification sound interrupted him.
He glanced at his phone. 1 million received. His anger froze. He counted the zeros, confirmed the balance,
and realized there were 7 zeros.
The tongue of the man who was just scolding him suddenly went limp, stuttering, Lin Hao. Oh no, nephew Lin, did your dad hook up with a big multinational company? You must take care of Uncle Liao's business later.
Liao Tianhai's attitude did not need to return. His angry expression turned into flattery. I'll arrange for someone to deliver the goods to your place. Wait, your warehouse is so small.
It can't fit all this.
How about we store it here at Uncle Liao's?
When the customer needs it, just come and pick it up. As for storage fees, don't worry. We've been friends for so many years. It's Fry.
Hearing the SOC value +1 notification,
Lin Hao chuckled.
Liao Tianhai was able to grow his business and become the biggest center in Shilin.
He really has some tricks. He asked for 1 million in goods.
The SOC hadn't even faded.
And in a blink, helping store goods for Fry? Is he that kind? Liao Tianhai wants to get the contact info
when the multinational group comes to pick up the goods
and cut Lin Hao out. Too bad there is no multinational group.
This order has nothing to do with the family.
It's my own order. I just bought a factory in the suburbs.
Uncle Liao just sent it over. Lin Hao heard SOC value +3 again. Clearly, his words shocked him again.
Liao Tianhai, you bought a factory? Is he really that kind? Liao Tianhai wants to get the contact info
when the multinational group picks up the goods to cut in on Lin Hao's deal.
Too bad there's no such international conglomerate.
This order has nothing to do with my family. I'm the one who wants the goods. I just bought a factory in the suburbs. Uncle Liao, just deliver it directly.
Lin Hao heard the SOC +3 alert again. Clearly, his words stunned them again.
Liao Tianhai,
you bought a factory plot?
The only property currently for Zio is the old factory site before Haiying International relocated. That's a plot of land worth nearly 100 million. You're joking with Uncle Liao, aren't you? Where would you get 100 million? Why would you need such a huge factory site?
In business, there's an unwritten rule that even a newcomer understands.
As long as the transaction is legal and compliant.
You never ask about a client's trade secrets. But Liao Tianhai, an old bird in the business, was so shocked that he made such a basic, amateur mistake. Before he could recover, he tried to use his words to get it back, fearing he'd offend Lin Hao, a major client. He didn't expect the guy to give such a direct answer.
He plans to sheet trim the assembly and refurbishment of large-scale military models. Uncle Liao, please deliver the goods as soon as possible. I'm in a rush to start the sheet trim.
Another wave of SOC value harvested.
Liao Tianhai, his mind in a state of chaos,
didn't even know how he hung up the phone.
Spending 100 million to buy a factory site.
Casually tossing out 1 million for scrap light vehicles, pipes, and drones, just to sheet trim the assembly of large military models.
Liao Tianhai knows about military models.
As a man worth tens of millions,
his son, who never likes pocket money,
has a bedroom filled with models. I think they call those figures.
But a sheet trim about models with a 100 million investment?
That's just too absurd.
He stood stunned for a long time. He looked at his son, who was walking past him,
a guy about the same age as Lin Hao. His anger flared up. They're both into models.
But Lin Hao gets a 100 million investment, while his own son just knows how to sponge off his parents.
Why is the gap between people so huge? With a thwack, Liao Tianhai flung his slipper at him. His son, hit out of nowhere, was completely baffled.
What are you looking at? Look at your pathetic self. Starting today, you're coming to work at the scrap distribution center. Get a shipment delivered to the old Haiying International factory immediately. Forget it. I'll go myself. You're coming with me. Look at your pathetic self, wasting your life on toys. The factory Lin Hao took over was the old Haiying International site. Not only was the factory mostly in good condition, but it also had power equipment, forklifts, logistics, and warehouses. The only major problem was there were no employees. Liao Tianhai, wearing a fawning smile, led the convoy to deliver the million doula scrap himself. Money really can move mountains, stimulated by the 1-million doula payment. Liao Tianhai led the drivers to operate the forklifts and cranes, stacking the supplies outside the sci-fi-looking military base, which stood in stark contrast to the great factories around it. No wonder he was so eager. Earlier, when he thought Lin Hao was pranking him, Liao Tianhai had inflated the prices to scare him off. Who knew this neighbor kid would suddenly strike it rich?
Not only did he not haggle,
he even rounded up the total, transferring him 1 million. That was nearly 100,000 in profit. After deducting labor and fuel costs, Liao Tianhai cleared 50,000 on this trip alone. If he could make 50,000 a day
in less than a year,
Liao Tianhai's net worth could double.
How could he not be invested?
Inside the international site, Liao Tianhai, fawning so much he might as well have been kneeling, was checking the order list with Lin Hao. He glanced at the business license behind him. Good grief, this kid wasn't bluffing. The legal representative of Haiying International was already Lin Hao. Lin Hao, oh wait, President Lin, you're truly successful.
Don't forget your Uncle Liao.
Why don't we go out for a couple of drinks today? Uncle Liao, I'm busy buying the factory land. I need to refurbish the vehicles
and process the scrap materials.
Zero hasn't been on sheet trim all day.
As a qualified contractor, I can't keep my client from the Middle East waiting.
Those oil tycoons have been waiting. In their first collaboration with me, they sent over 20 million UETD in full.
Compared to those tycoons,
I have no time, energy, or interest in drinking with you, Uncle Liao. Lin Hao carefully checked the order list without even looking up. He directly rejected the overly eager Liao Tianhai. Next time, I have things to do, so I won't chat anymore. That was a direct order to leave. This attitude made Liao Tianhai quite unhappy.
He still hadn't adjusted to the fact that
Lin Hao, the son of a small-time scrap dealer, had suddenly become a big patron he needed to suck up to.
On the way back,
Liao Tianhai, driving the cargo truck himself, looked grim. His son, Xiao Wei, who only knew how to play with figures,
was too scared to breathe.
He didn't dare make a sound.
He didn't even dare look at his phone for more than a second before shoving it back into his pocket.
What kind of luck did this Lin Hao have
to build such a business in just a few days?
Xiao Wei, I remember you were classmates with Lin Hao.
Why don't you find a way to get close to him? If you can steal his business, I won't say a word even if you fill the house with figures.
Liao Tianhai spoke through gritted teeth. He wanted to figure out the source of Lin Hao's massive funds and what kind of patron he had latched onto. Using his own son, who was Lin Hao's age, was the best way. Back in high school, his family was just a small scrapyard.
Who would bother hanging out with him?
He was the one who had to suck up to me. Xiao Wei, whose head was only full of figures, originally wanted to mock Lin Hao.
But seeing his father's fierce, unfriendly gaze, and remembering the slipper that hit his face earlier,
he quickly shrank back in fear. Actually, there's no need to get close to him.
The kid opened a live stream. I have his number. The platform recommended him to me.
So I went in to take a look.
It's exactly as Lin Hao said.
He spent 100 million on a factory and tossed out $1 million for materials just to sheet trim himself tinkering with these so-called large figures. Streaming, is that profitable? Liao Tianhai, envious and jealous to the point of redness, couldn't believe it.
Anyone can sheet trim, but how can it be that profitable? But this Lin Hao seems to have hit the jackpot. He says he's going to build weapons, and that as long as the money is there,
he can build 5th-gen fighters, nuclear carriers, and intercontinental missiles.
Liao Tianhai curled his lip.
He didn't believe anyone would buy into Lin Hao's nonsense.
Seeing his father didn't intend to interrupt,
Xiao Wei, who was also extremely jealous of Lin Hao, continued to rant.
But who knows what kind of luck this guy has? A user called Head Wrapped in Cloth
actually tipped him 100,000. He even privately transferred 20 million UETD to Lin Hao.
To show off, this kid even pointed his phone screen at the camera to show the viewers his bank balance. Not just me, the whole chat was shocked.
A fool who doesn't even know the rule of keeping wealth hidden.
How does he get such incredible luck?
Screech. Liao Tianhai slammed on the brakes,
nearly throwing Xiao Wei out of the passenger seat. Head wrapped in cloth? Isn't that one of those Middle Eastern oil tycoons? Who buys military weapons all over the world? 20 million UETD from the Middle East? Such a massive sum of money must be illegal. It's just that the authorities haven't found concrete evidence yet. If it's fake, it's fraud and he'll go to jail. If it's real, then it won't be the police coming for him, but the military. This kid really has a death wish.
I remember reporting collusion with foreign forces.
Fraudulent funds.
Or manufacturing weapons domestically.
These are all serious crimes, right?
Xiao Wei, you're a college student.
Help your old man remember. Is there a law that specifically states
that if a report is verified,
you get a huge reward?
Plus 10% of the illegal gains? Xiao Wei, who had finally sat back down, nodded. Yeah, there is such a thing.
Liao Tianhai's face wrinkled with joy.
He quickly and solemnly instructed his son.
Forget the reward money. Even 10% of the illegal gains would be millions in income.
Xiao Wei, no one else online knows Lin Hao's real identity.
But you stumbled into your classmate's sheet trim. This is a windfall sent by heaven.
You keep a close watch on this kid for me.
Collect evidence of his illegal activities. Lie actually building weapons. Or colluding with foreign forces. One report from me. And that's millions in the bank. After a pause,
Liao Tianhai, having calmed down, restarted the car and earnestly advised his son, if you need money, just ask. As long as we can get this kid thrown in jail, our family's assets will nearly double. Hey, Xiao Wei.
Why are you staring at me?
There's nothing on my face. Keep playing on your phone.
Make sure you keep a close watch on Lin Hao's sheet trim. The chat was full of jeers. Although Lin Hao made bold claims,
not many viewers believed him. But his claim that as long as the money is there, he can build 5th-gen fighters and nuclear carriers
sounds so grating now. A 10-ton truck chassis,
after being dragged into the workshop by a forklift, went through automated rust removal, polishing, and painting.
These processes were only surface level. Forget about upgrading the engine
or the transmission to military-grade parts.
There wasn't even a steel frame upgraded to military-grade steel. As for the drone modules
and radar modules, they were treated the same way. There was absolutely no high-tech military upgrade, as Malik, the head of the Houthi rebels, had imagined. It was just rust removal, refurbishment, polishing, and painting. It made these components, which should have been world-class military gear, for observation, scanning, tracking, and jamming. Look, about 30% lie the real thing. If the Suicide drone's warhead was just repaired on the surface with welding and plating, while the internal avionics, remote control, optics, and sensors
remained untouched. The 4-row, 10-unit rocket launcher was just refurbished second-hand large-caliber steel pipes,
welded together and mounted on the truck chassis.
Damn, is this what the streamer meant by, as long as the money is there, you can get any military gear?
I feel like it's just a polishing process for scrap. Refurbished pipes, paint, truck chassis,
welded drone wrecks,
splicing broken drones into decent-looking toy models. Can this streamer get any more absurd? To the viewer's skepticism,
Lin Hao answered with action. Debt, he could get more absurd.
The Houthi rebels are in the mountainous Middle East, where the terrain is quite complex. Therefore, Malik specifically stated in his private chat with Lin Hao
that the vehicle couldn't be wheeled, but had to be a tank
with strong terrain crossing capabilities, and Lin Hao actually came up with a track design.
If refurbishing pipes and welding drone wrecks could be considered absurd, then the track design was heaven-defying.
As Lin Hao operated the workshop control panel, a large amount of steel was cut into metal plates of identical size. Then, Unit 0 manually moved these plates
and arc welded them onto the truck chassis. This thing wouldn't even be able to drive. The metal track plates fixed to the chassis
would shatter with a few hits from a sledgehammer.
The chat went silent. Whether it was regular viewers or the many small streamers who entered the chat to stir up trouble and keep the traffic flowing, they were all stunned.
They had imagined Lin Hao would pull some crazy stunts after taking 20 million.
But they never expected
Lin Hao's stunts to break their imagination's limits
and reach a heaven-defying level. Truly, there's only more shameless.
Not most shameless, seeing the project finished.
Lin Hao, sweating profusely, straightened his back and rubbed his sore shoulders.
He grinned, "Dear patron,
the first swarm drone
and multi-barrel rocket launcher are done. I'm shipping them to the coordinates you provided.
Try them out on the battlefield first. If you're satisfied,
I'll continue with the production of the next 9 rocket launchers. Oh, and remember to live stream the connection during combat so the viewers can see the results." Boom. The chat exploded. Damn.
Can you be any more shameless? Can this thing even be called a rocket launcher?
And it's going to the battlefield?
This isn't even good enough to be a target for training.
At first, I was worried the streamer would be taken for tea
by the police for building weapons.
And I was curious if his so-called swarm drones
and rocket launchers could pass customs.
Now I see I was just naive.
I apologize, I repent. I didn't think a person could be shameless to such an extent.
Actually, this thing would definitely pass customs.
I've already thought it through.
On the customs form, you can just list it as large military vehicle models, polishing and painting a pile of scrap, and claiming it's a swarm drone and a multi-barrel rocket launcher.
The most absurd thing is,
he's actually asking the Middle Eastern patron
to live stream the connection. Where did that Middle Eastern tycoon go? The one who sent 20 million? Why is he silent? But they got an answer that was unexpected, yet within expectations. User head wrapped in cloth is up lie. Everyone in the chat was mocking him. In their eyes, it was obvious that after seeing Lin Hao claim this pile of scrap was a swarm drone and a rocket launcher model, the tycoon who was scanned out of 20 million UETD was so angry he went out lie. Ah, he's not on lie.
Does he have some important matter to attend to? Lin Hao, completely unaware that in the eyes of nearly 200,000 viewers,
he was the one who made the tycoon go up lie, was still muttering and asking curiously. But that's fine. I already have the coordinates. I'll just ship it out. Looking at the thing that actually looked the part, appearing quite imposing, painted in a tan, desert camouflage swarm drone and rocket launcher, Lin Hao found a large transport truck and carefully dragged the model to the military equipment shipping area. Look at this streamer, even he knows that if he pulls it too hard or too fast, the welded tracks will fall off. What is that huge sealed box-lie equipment? Probably a shipping container. Sending this thing to a Middle Eastern battlefield is a joke, right? Dragging out a model after half a day, with materials made of second-hand scrap, and it's sold for 20 million UETD, 150 million Chinese yuan per unit? Damn, why don't I ever run into such luck? This streamer is heartless. If it were me, I'd at least use a new truck and new drones. Damn, I bet when customs checks this model, they'll be even more confused than us. Malik, the head of the Houthi rebels, wasn't actually driven out by Lin Hao's son of refurbishing scrap, slicing second-hand pipes, and hand-making drone and rocket launcher models. He had a bigger problem. After hearing Lin Hao's request for a battlefield livestream, before he could even reply, dozens of armed Houthi soldiers, led by Goatbeard, surrounded his residence and took Malik into custody. Looking at the dark gun barrels pointed at his face, Malik was furious. Omar, are you rebelling? Goatbeard, who had been calling for the Houthi rebels to surrender to the Turbo militia, Omar sneered, "Debt, I'm rebelling." Malik, you threw away 20 million UETD, claiming to have the support of a major Eastern power to buy modern military equipment to fight the Turbo militia. And what happened? The Chinese streamer you trusted, streaming the refurbishment of toy vehicles. Malik, do you think you're still qualified to lead the Houthi rebels? You're leading 1,000 soldiers to fight a Turbo militia. That's just suicide. The she trimmed just now, not only me, but over a dozen Houthi leaders have seen it, and this mutiny has their tacit approval. Malik opened his mouth, speechless, not knowing how to refute Omar. After a while, he replied, the Chinese streamer named Lin Hao has already shipped the goods. Laughing until he equipment arrives before passing judgment. Maybe the performance in the she trim was just a smokescreen. Omar laughed as if he'd heard the most ironic joke in the world, laughing until he doubled over. At this point, Malik, you're still being stubborn. The land, sea, and air routes have all been blocked by the Turbo militia. Even if that Chinese streamer's performance was a smokescreen, and he really has Chinese military backing, I ask you, How is that swarm drone and rocket launcher,
which is no different from a large military model, going to be delivered to our base
and reached the designated location? Omar took a few steps forward, leaned close to Malik's ear, and whispered in a tiny voice,
Malik, give up.
I've already contacted the Turbo Militia.
They know you spent 20 million UETD on scrap
and refurbished models.
They also know you want to lead the rebels into the mountains to fight a guerrilla war. At the entrance to the mountains, the Turbo Militia has already started building outposts.
If you're smart,
the only thing you can do now is admit your mistake.
Step down as the commander of the Houthi rebels and hand over command to me.
I guarantee that after surrendering to the Turbo Militia,
I can save your life.
Malik's eyes widened in anger.
He was about to curse Omar as a traitor,
but the mutinous goatbeard signaled
his men to tie Malik up and gag him.
Since our dear leader Malik still has fantasies,
let's let him witness how he was scammed.
The leader of a 1,000-man Houthi force actually believed a Chinese internet scammer, sending 2/3 of our remaining 30 million UETD
in operating funds to someone else.
Take leader Malik to the delivery point. Let him see how he was scammed out of 20 million UETD
by a young Chinese streamer. Undoubtedly, as the head of the Houthi rebels,
this force of 1,000 men was built by Malik himself because he was brave and fearless in battle.
He gained high support in the troops. But now, with the Turbo Militia pressing in, the top leader was obsessed with the internet,
even sending most of the troops funds to a Chinese nobody streamer and believing that he could provide military equipment
that could rival the Turbo Militia. At Omar's invitation,
over a dozen Houthi leaders also watched how Lin Hao took their 20 million UETD and got a pile of second-hand scrap to refurbish,
making swarm drones
and rocket launcher under internal and external pressure.
The entire Houthi force was in panic. Otherwise, they wouldn't have tacitly approved Omar's mutiny and tied up Malik.
They were just waiting for the delivery time agreed upon by Malik and Lin Hao to pass.
If they didn't receive the swarm drones
and rocket launchers from the mysterious Eastern power, then Malik being stripped of his command
and Omar taking over would be a done deal. Omar's plan was ticking away.
He just waited until he took off his surrender.
The Turbo Militia. He could at least get a colonel or commander position.
As for the 1,000 Houthi soldiers being absorbed by the Turbo Militia,
whether they'd be used as cannon fodder
to lead the attacks on other factions,
or be disarmed
and sent to oil fields or factories as slave labor,
that had nothing to do with Omar.
As long as he could survive the Turbo Militia
and get a position in the military group supported by the Western Alliance,
that would be enough. The sand was blowing everywhere.
The delivery point agreed upon by Malik and Lin Hao
was in a desert area less than 5 kilometers east of Rahasi.
Malik, tied up, was escorted by Omar's dozen henchmen
under the scorching sun toward the target area.
Behind them
were over 100 Houthi leaders and soldiers
dressed in rags
and holding various types of rifles. Don't look at the small force of 100 men as ragged,
with weapons of different calibers and standards. But in the poor Houthi slipper army, where only 1 in 3 or 4 people has a weapon,
they were already the absolute elite.
Behind them were hundreds of poorly dressed Houthi leaders and soldiers with all kinds of rifles. Don't let their ragtag look fool you. Their weapons vary in caliber and type. But in the impoverished Houthi slipper army, where 3 or 4 SE-1 gun, they're already the elite. Malik, gagged and sweating under the scorching sun, but Omar wouldn't loosen his grip at all, nor did he intend to let him have any water. My beloved leader Malik, this is the agreed upon delivery spot. Open your eyes and take a look. Aside from the endless sand and dunes, where are the weapons you promised? Omar sneered with a mocking face, just as he prepared to rally his men to incite the Houthi leaders to abandon Malik and crown himself the supreme leader. A sudden gust of wind swept across. The nearby sand dune was blown away. What is that in the sand? Something seems to be hidden underneath. Several loyalists of Malik's inner circle, leading a dozen soldiers. Before Omar could finish his seditious speech, they rushed toward the dune, running wildly.
How is this possible? It's a massive container.
There are no markings on the container.
Impossible to tell which country it's from.
My God, look at what's inside the container.
Why are you all just standing there?
Untie leader Malik immediately. Let him see if this is what he promised.
Advanced military gear from the mysterious East.
That hive drone and the rocket launcher. The Houthi group was created by Malik himself,
from a small band of a few dozen men, gradually growing to a force of over 1,000.
Though insignificant in the chaotic Middle East, and a mere footnote in Yemen's fractured politics,
it was still just a small, unknown militia.
But Malik, brave and fiercely loyal to his men,
held immense prestige within the Houthi ranks, if not for the current internal and external crises.
The elders would never have allowed Omar's mutiny
and the binding of Malik. Externally, the Bolt militia gave a 10-day ultimatum,
threatening to raise Raha city if they don't surrender.
Internally, Malik trusted a Chinese streamer, believing in the shadow of a great Eastern power, claiming to provide advanced military equipment.
Yet he was scammed out of $20 million. Under this dual crisis, the elders had no reason to stand by Malik.
After all, even without Omar's staged spectacle
of Lin Hao crafting tanks from scrap metal, the elders never believed
that a mysterious Eastern power would intervene
in the muddy waters of the Middle East. More importantly,
even if Malik had the luck of the devil
and truly secured backing from the East,
obtaining advanced military gear,
with Raha city under a total land, sea, and air blockade, there was no way to transport gear to their base. The Bolt militia has over 30,000 soldiers, equipped with dozens of 1970s British tanks,
the M601 main battle tank,
and a vast array of armored and motorized vehicles, and the Bolt militia is backed by the West. Even if the East wanted to intervene and challenge the Western powers, they would at least pick a military group
that was a match for the Bolt militia. There is no reason to support the Houthis, a small force of only 1,000 men, to break through the blockade of the Bolt militia
and the Western powers
to deliver advanced military equipment.
But as the wind cleared the sand, a massive, unmarked container appeared. The Houthis, who had no hope against the Bolt militia, suddenly saw a glimmer.
Oh, finding a giant container in the desert is already absurd enough, and the coordinates where it was found were exactly where Malik requested the delivery.
Omar, I told you to untie Leader Malik.
Didn't you hear me? Control Omar and his men immediately. Bring Leader Malik over here when we fall into despair.
With no way out,
we should trust that Allah will extend a helping hand to save us from this chaotic situation.
In the Middle East, religious conflict is a major cause of long-term bloodshed. People here value their faith in God
even more than their own lives. They say it's a miracle from Allah. God is saving the Houthi group.
Not only did the loyalist soldiers act immediately,
rushing to save their leader,
even Omar's henchmen dared not move, ignoring the furious Omar,
who tried to forbid Malik's release.
Malik, now free, tore the cloth from his mouth. His first order was to seize Omar,
arrest this damn traitor who betrayed Allah
and colluded with the Bolt militia. This traitor, for his own greed,
has leaked our lack of ammunition
and our plan to buy weapons and retreat to the mountains. He leaked everything. The Bolt militia is already on our path to the mountains,
building outposts. If we don't destroy those outposts, if we fail to repel them,
we will be completely wiped out during our retreat.
After ordering Omar's arrest,
Malik loudly thanked Allah
for turning their crisis into safety.
He rushed toward the container, suspected to hold the Eastern supplied weapons.
The massive container door was already open. Malik stood at the entrance, looking inside. His mouth hung open in an O shape. After a few seconds of SOC,
he rushed into the container,
climbing into the cockpit of the vehicle,
accompanied by the hum of the engine. A vehicle identical to the Hive drone and the rocket launcher model was driven out.
As the vehicle was exposed to the desert sun,
a dozen educated elders rushed over. Allah!
This is a real combat vehicle. It looks exactly like the one in the 60
that the traitor Omar showed us. But this is definitely not a large model. The phased array radar and infrared units, the Suicide drone launch bays and modules, were all polished metal in the model. But on this vehicle,
every piece of equipment is real.
This is what the streamer Lin Hao said.
A remote control station for Suicide drones, so exquisite, so advanced, full of modern technological beauty.
Not just the elders. Even Malik, who drove the Hive drone vehicle out with its desert camouflage,
was stunned after stepping out. Just a few hours ago, he had watched the whole process
of Lin Hao crafting the model from scrap. Even the crawler wheels were welded on with metal sheets,
let alone driving it.
Even a slight push would make the wheels fall off. But this Hive drone rocket launcher, from the engine to the exterior, the tracks, the 4x10 launch bays, and the remote control station on the side,
are all genuine, high-end weaponry.
Even inside the container, there were 400 more Suicide drones to reload the launch bays. How is this possible?
Even if the model was made from scrap, it was only crafted a few hours ago. How did it become real?
And in just a few hours, even without the blockades,
it would be impossible to ship across the globe.
It makes no sense.
This is completely illogical.
The bound Omar was stunned. He wasn't the only one who found this miraculous.
Everyone present, including Malik.
Over 100 Houthi leaders and soldiers were in SOC. Could this streamer from the East truly be a messenger sent by God?
For a moment, they knelt down. Prayers rose one after another. When Lin Hao received Malik's satellite call,
it was 1 a.m. in China.
He groggily checked the unknown number, almost hanging up, thinking it was a scam. When he heard the broken Chinese on the other end, he immediately realized
the call was from the Middle East. A night raid on the outpost at 3 a.m.
Alright, I will be online on time to live stream the battlefield connection.
The performance of the Hive drone launcher
should theoretically be perfect. Of course, it still needs field testing
before considering further optimizations.
After hanging up, Lin Hao couldn't sleep. Yemen's time zone is 6 hours behind China,
meaning Malik's Houthi group would launch the raid at 3 a.m., which is 9 a.m. in China. Whether he can harvest enough SOC value will determine if the next 9 Hive drones can be delivered successfully. It is also Lin Hao's first step since his rebirth
to transform from a scrap dealer's son to a global arms tycoon. Headache. Even though the Bolt group is unlikely to notice.
A small Chinese streamer Limey.
I still can't expose the plan.
The 3 a.m. raid on the outpost,
to avoid alerting the enemy.
But I can't pot a major teaser either. Yet I'm worried about low viewership
and not harvesting enough SOC value. And SOC value is the key to the system.
Upgrading permissions and the military base
and laundering large amounts of money
from unknown arms orders.
System currency.
If only the system could convert money to SOC value.
He glanced at the system.
It seems it can convert funds to system currency,
but the exchange rate is absurd. 10,000 yuan for 1 point of SOC value.
At this rate, to send 1 Hive drone launcher
which requires 10,000 SOC value, would cost 100 million yuan. Forget it. I'll just harvest SOC value from the sheet trim. I wonder if the exchange rate will improve. With system upgrades, 8 hours until 9 a.m. I need to pot a teaser, hoping to attract enough viewers. After pondering for a moment,
Lin Hao decided to try his luck and posted a clickbait teaser.
9 a.m. live streaming a bombing thousands of miles away.
He woke up at 8 a.m.
Lin Hao never expected. 300,000 people had already signed up for the sheet trim.
He checked the comments and laughed. Did those small streamers help spread the word?
The streamers who got traffic from Lin Hao yesterday were afraid that Lin Hao would get hyped up and become the focus of the entire internet. They feared the clown would disappear with the 20 million and they wouldn't get any more traffic.
So they shared his 1 a.m. teaser
and his arrogant title about bombing thousands of miles away. It was immediately spread across the internet. Bombing thousands of miles away?
This clown really knows how to brag.
What's next? Last time he used scrap metal to make a large model. Wasn't that enough? Now he's going to craft an ICBM?
Quick, help spread the news about this clown.
Let's see how crazy he can get. The scammer who took 20 million is at it again, claiming to craft an ICBM to bomb the world. Will he scam anyone else this time? Watching these clowns trying to leech off his traffic
with all their guesses and explanations.
Lin Hao couldn't help but grin. When did I ever say I'd craft an ICBM bombing thousands of miles away? Does it have to be an ICBM? He said the bombing would happen far away. Did he say it would be launched from China?
Of course, these influencers are just guessing
and interpreting his words however they want. Lin Hao is happy to let them. He won't refute them.
They want his traffic, and Lin Hao wants them as fry promoters.
To lure more unsuspecting viewers into the sheet trim, to become leaks for harvesting SOC value. 8:45 a.m. Lin Hao yawned and clicked the start button. The flood of viewers into the sheet trim was like a dam opening. Look at these dense comments. It's become a mudslinging sheet trim.
I heard you have a new scam.
An ICBM bombing 10,000 kilometers away?
Why don't you say you got Chinese missile tech? Those missiles are tens of meters tall.
Are you going to use sewer pipes painted silver or stainless steel pipes welded together to build an ICBM model? Streamer, you're not trying hard enough.
Last time you used scrap trucks and drone parts.
This time you have nothing? Trying to repeat the 20 million doula scam? You need to put in more effort to scam people. If you want to make money, you have to invest.
Lin Hao watched the influencers with interest. They were driving the narrative. He grinned with a mocking smile.
His attitude was clearly, I won't answer, and I'll annoy you to death. 10 minutes passed. Lin Hao just sat there, waiting for the viewer count to soar. The influencers and the viewers
were getting impatient.
Streamer, we're here for the show. What's the meaning of just sitting there? This has no entertainment value. This is making it hard for us. Even if you want to scam potential donors, you need to show some sincerity. The growth of viewers started to slow down. Some viewers even felt bored and were about to leave when a system notification flashed. Congratulations to the top donor. User head wrapped in cloth has entered. User head wrapped in cloth requests the connection. Connection successful.
In the next second, all the criticism stopped.
Dear streamer, 5 minutes left. Our operation is about to begin.
Our soldiers are equipped with button cameras.
The drone image transmission is ready.
The camera crew is all set.
We are about to test the first Hive drone
and the rocket launcher in combat.
10 seconds of silence. Then the sheet trim exploded. Holy crap. What am I seeing? Armed soldiers in the night, looking at the background. This is the desert.
This top donor head wrapped in cloth
is really a member of a Middle Eastern militia?
Wait, the vehicle the streamer made, wasn't it just a large toy model made of scrap?
How is it possible that it's on the battlefield and being field tested? My dad asked why I'm kneeling to watch the sheet trim. I said, I'm witnessing a live combat sheet trim. Now my dad is kneeling with me. Is it possible? I mean, is it possible? The bombing thousands of miles away
isn't an ICBM launch from China,
but a battle happening in the Middle East. A battle and bombing. Suddenly I feel like the clown is me. With gasps and SOC comments kept flying by.
Lin Hao heard system notifications in his ear.
SOC value plus 1,000. SOC value plus 800. SOC value plus 1,200. Good lord. The Houthi night raid. The operation hasn't even started yet.
The Hive drone test hasn't started.
And Lin Hao has already gained 10,000 SOC value.
This is a great start.
At 1 a.m., Malik's satellite call to Lin Hao lasted over half an hour.
Even though he's just a small militia leader, a poor force of about 1,000 men, the leader of the Houthi slipper army, his broken Chinese was full of respect for Lin Hao.
To be precise, respect, politeness, and diligence aren't enough to describe Malik's humble tone.
He worshipped Lin Hao like a god walking on earth.
In the respectful call,
Malik reported every detail of the night raid on the outpost.
Even their hiding spots in Raha City,
the structure of their group, their lack of infantry weapons, and the age and ammo status of his soldiers.
He explained everything in detail. This doesn't look like a buyer who paid 20 million.
Talking to a supplier.
Polite and humble, worshipping like a devout believer, praying without reservation.
A night raid against 1,000 Bolt militia troops.
Such a small military operation. Even if they were on equal footing, exchanging intelligence, it would only take 5 minutes. But Malik used this report
to reveal all their secrets and strength to Lin Hao. This left Lin Hao just woken up, stunned.
He even suspected that Malik and his Houthis
were treating him as their supreme god.
However,
with the scrap metal Hive drone and rocket launcher
delivered in just a few hours to the Middle East thousands of miles away,
and Malik finding it in the sand,
it really does have a magical feel. Looking at the 300 plus Houthi soldiers on screen,
though poorly equipped, they looked disciplined and orderly.
Lin Hao couldn't help but sigh. The power of religion is indeed strong.
These 300 men with different weapons, without individual armor, without even matching uniforms, but with faces full of faith in Allah, and the belief that they will win. This Shi'Tat AP militia, of about 1,000 men, really seems to treat him as a messenger of Allah, sent to save them, especially with less than 3 minutes to the raid.
Approaching under the cover of night,
The 300 soldiers near the outpost, and Malik and his leaders outside Raha city, knelt down to pray to Lin Hao thousands of miles away, waiting for his final order. It truly moved the scrap dealer's son, Lin Hao.
He was deeply touched.
For the Houthi group that entrusted their lives to him, Lin Hao made a decision.
Damn it, for these men who trust me with their lives,
I will provide them with full equipment and heavy vehicles,
fighter jets, warships, aircraft carriers,
help the Houthis grow, and give them the best possible discounts. These brave men never imagined. Their actions won Lin Hao's approval,
and strengthened his resolve
to help them take back their land from the West, to let them build a sovereign nation, resisting the oppression of Western powers,
counterattacking the forces supported by the West,
countless armed factions, ending the war in the Middle East,
gaining a chance for peaceful development. This is the wish of every Middle Easterner.
But only Malik of the Houthis
accidentally climbed onto Lin Hao's bandwagon. This is a great opportunity.
In the live stream, hundreds of armed Middle Eastern soldiers, kneeling and praying to the camera,
shocked nearly 200,000 viewers. Holy crap, what's going on?
Why are they kneeling to us? Don't flatter yourself.
These men who lie on the edge,
struggling between life and death,
are clearly kneeling to the streamer.
Those influencers, those leeches.
Didn't they say the streamer is a scammer?
Their analysis sounded so credible.
Forget it, is the streamer a scammer?
The Hive drone made from scrap, the rocket launcher, are they real? Can they help them win this battle? Are these Middle Eastern soldiers less knowledgeable than those greedy influencers?
They are truly trusting the streamer with their lives.
If the Hive drone and rocket launcher were fake, do you think they would kneel to the streamer and pray before the battle? Damn, could the Hive drone launcher be real? Of course it's real, but he's just a normal streamer.
I heard he only had a few thousand followers before.
Is it possible?
The streamer is just a front. Behind him stands a country, a mysterious Eastern power.
Shut up, you didn't say anything. We didn't see anything, right? The mysterious Eastern power is the neighbor. Makes sense.
Everything is the work of the Eastern power. They are the culprits interfering in the Middle East.
They are the ones behind the Middle East chaos. In the peaceful and knowing comments,
the 200,000 viewers' emotions returned to normal.
If not for the system notifications,
a lot of SOC, and the mechanical sound of money arriving,
he might have really thought these seemingly calm viewers would see this Hive drone,
multiple rocket launcher system,
mistaken for the White Elephant's tech,
a deadly weapon supporting the Houthis.
As everyone knows, China is a peace-loving nation that grows rich quietly. This streamer is just bragging for fun,
scamming foreign powers out of millions,
showing off second-hand junk on camera. A small streamer making weapon models, providing drones and rocket launchers to the Houthis.
The Eastern power receiving prayers from 300 soldiers.
It must be the bragging White Elephant nation. Time passes in China. It's 9 a.m. 3 a.m. in Yemen. Lin Hao says it calmly. Time's up. Let's move. Just seconds ago, praying devoutly to Lin Hao, the Houthi slipper army changes instantly, looking like vengeful demons from hell. 3 a.m. in Yemen,
near Raha, 20 kilometers from the Ajlan outpost.
Dozens of rockets streak across the sky, heading straight for the target area. Already lurking near the outpost,
over 300 Houthi soldiers,
using button-sized cameras, streaming the feed to Lin Hao's channel. Air raid sirens blare in the footage. Bolter soldiers scramble into bunkers.
Loud, chaotic shouting ensues. Translated by Malik.
The 200,000 viewers understand clearly the chaos at the Ajlan outpost. Damn it, what's happening? Why are we being attacked? Who launched this night raid? The sky is full of rocket trails. Whoever is attacking tonight, don't they know there are 5,000 civilians here?
The loudest voice.
Clearly the bolter commander of the outpost. A colonel. He rushes out of the command center,
diving into a nearby bunker,
cursing loudly. The colonel realizes something is wrong.
That's strange. This raid is clearly from a military force, firing so many rockets at us.
But the rockets streaking across the sky,
why hasn't a single one hit? While he's confused,
a technical officer rushes over.
Report, sir. Communications with Aiden are down.
All bolter headquarters links are cut. Phone lines are severed.
Our comms tower is destroyed too.
Even satellite links are jammed. The colonel pauses. Then he grins with a cold realization. I see, the Houthis' final desperate act. Clearly, this pathetic slipper army realized we built this outpost, too stubborn to surrender to us, and wanting to retreat to the mountains. The only way is to cut our comms with Aiden headquarters, staging a fake rocket attack at night,
trying to scare our 1,000 troops away.
Wait a moment. Confirming no warheads have landed. The arrogant colonel is certain now.
Order the troops to assemble.
Sweep the area outside the outpost with our 1,000 elite, well-armed soldiers,
wiping out 300 or 400
poor soldiers without guns.
The Houthi slipper army.
It's a guaranteed win. Crush the Houthis.
Destroy their forces.
Force them back to Raha. I'll get top marks from General Sammy. Regarding the Colonel's reckless order, his subordinates hesitate. Colonel, sending everyone out to hunt them. Isn't that too risky? Visibility is terrible at night. What if they have some secret weapon? With our comms cut off, we can't even call General Sammy for help. To be safe, shouldn't we wait for daylight? Restore comms before chasing them? The arrogant colonel immediately shuts down the suggestion. This is clearly just the Houthis trying to scare us off tonight. The Ajlan garrison trying to flee into the mountains. Wait for daylight to restore comms? By then, they'll be long gone. The chance will be lost. Targeting Raha. The Houthi full-scale attack. Is General Sammy showing off his muscle? Displaying Western military gear to intimidate all factions in Yemen. A major strategic plan. If I can crush the Houthis before the general's plan begins, destroy their plot to hide in the mountains. If I miss this credit, I'll regret it forever. In the colonel's eyes, the 1,000 Houthi soldiers are pathetic. With land, sea, and air blockades, he can't imagine them doing anything except using tricks to scare us. What other options do they have? Even if other foreign powers wanted to provide them with gear, they couldn't break the blockade. Crush the Houthi slipper army tonight. Gain General Sammy's favor. Become the hero of the Bolter campaign. A victorious commander. Such an easy credit. If I miss this, I'd be a total fool. Stop talking. All troops, move out. We lack nothing, especially the guns from the west. We have plenty of ammo. Go and crush those Houthis. The commander has spoken. If we don't follow orders, we'll be branded as mutineers. In the early morning twilight, the 1,000 Bolter elites move out, creeping toward Raha, ready to destroy the colonel's enemy. The ones using tricks and lies, trying to flee Ajlan. The Houthi slipper army in the mountains, ready to wipe them out. In the pitch black night, above the isolated Ajlan outpost, no one notices 40 electric drones. Silent suicide drones glowing faintly, watching everything lie hawks, thinking they're being stealthy, moving out quietly. The 1,000 Bolter elites are being watched by everything. 20 kilometers away, the commander of this night raid, Houthi leader Malik, is stunned. Outside the Ajlan outpost, the 300 soldiers in their bunkers are also stunned, even thousands of miles away. Lin Hao, live streaming with Malik, and the 200,000 viewers are completely baffled. In the drone's night vision feed, the Bolter soldiers are all moving out in the pitch black dark, with comms completely cut, leaving their fortified positions. They didn't even fire a flare. Where do they get the courage? I don't know much about war, but from a normal person's perspective, this is suicide. 1,000 soldiers with Western gear, with no comms or lighting, charging out in the dark, even forming a pincer movement, heading toward Raha. This bizarre military operation, streamed live via the drones. Everyone is confused. It's not that Lin Hao is kind, reminding Malik to have the 300 soldiers outside clean up the battlefield and finish off the wounded. The half-dead Bolter soldiers, 1 bullet each, send them to meet their god. The attack was just too intense. In just half an hour, without hurting civilians, all 1,000 Bolter elites were killed or wounded. The 200,000 viewers are shocked and stunned. These netizens are finally waking up. No emotional fluctuations, no SOC value for Lin Hao. He's busy streaming, turning junk into drones and rocket launchers, communicating with Malik, ignoring the trolls, all to harvest these leaks. You're right, Mr. Streamer. I'll clean up the battlefield now. Trek for civilian casualties. As the outpost searchlights turn on, nearly 5,000 people gather. It's the Houthi forces from Raha, not those Bolter animals. Are we finally saved? So many of us died at their hands. They burned and looted everything, took all our property. Our parents and children were shot. Amidst the wailing and prayers, survivors, the viewers are finally awake. My God, this is real war. Beyond the slaughter and the carnage, the tragedy outside is even more shocking. Thank God we were born in China, protected by a powerful nation. Otherwise, if invaded, we'd be worse off than these people. Streamer, we believe you made those weapons for the sake of these people and the Houthis. Sell them some weapons. After the intense battle, the scene of a war-torn country, the misery is laid bare. The 200,000 viewers' emotions are reignited. SOC value pours into Lin Hao's system. SOC value breaks the 200,000 mark. Lin Hao hasn't even had time to reflect. Malik's men report from the outpost. Deep in the bunker where the colonel died, they found an encrypted safe full of jewelry, gold and lots of cash. It seems he wasn't idle while building the outpost. He was busy slaughtering the people of Ajlan, looting every valuable thing, raiding surrounding towns repeatedly. Otherwise, he couldn't have scraped together $20 million in such a short time. In the live feed, Malik's men take the cash and jewelry, move it all to the square. Let the victims take their belongings and leave. Everyone, I'm very sorry. The Bolter forces turned this into an outpost, set up many military fortifications, so we've planted explosives in critical areas. After we leave, this place will be ruins. Even though we cut their comms before the raid, The main bolter force in Aden.
We'll find out soon. Reinforcements will arrive by sunrise. So everyone, take your things and leave. Run for your lives.
Compared to the bolter group, the Houthis are a righteous army. If Malik wasn't so devout.
Guarding a city of 100,000. Raha, barely touched by war. Slightly exploiting the people.
And surrendering to the West.
Becoming a puppet force.
Then the bolter group wouldn't have a chance.
Controlling the entire province.
It would be the Houthis, with Western equipment, despite the Houthis' advice, and returning the jewelry. The thousands of survivors.
Just keep kneeling. No intention of taking the goods.
Our families were killed by the bolters. We want revenge. Yemen is in total chaos.
There's no chance for normal life. We want to join the Houthis.
Among the dozens of factions in Yemen.
The Houthis have the best reputation.
Never heard of you looting a city. We want to join. And seek revenge against the bolters. The people's will to join the Houthis.
Surprises Lin Hao, Malik, and the viewers. I always thought winning the people was just a phrase.
A line from history books. I apologize for treating you like a clown. You showed us the reality of war. And the struggle for justice.
This user with the headscarf. Perhaps I should call you Leader Malik. Since these poor people want to join, and you want revenge against the bolters.
To avenge your loved ones. Then just accept them. My God, are the bolters animals?
To save food, they slaughtered the women and children.
If not for the drones and rocket launchers.
Helping the Houthis save these people. I fear that when the outpost was finished,
they would have all been slaughtered.
Regarding the viewers' intense demands,
the request to accept 5,000 survivors.
Malik shakes his head helplessly.
Dear streamer, dear Chinese friends.
It's not that I don't want to accept them.
Our military strength is too small. We bought 10 drones and rocket launchers. That's only enough to hurt the bolters.
When they attack Raha. But we lack infantry equipment, lack guns and ammo, lack enough manpower. In the end, we can only retreat to the mountains.
And play cat and mouse with them.
Malik's words silence the viewers again, and leave the survivors hopeless.
The 5,000 people, falling into despair.
Must we abandon the 100,000 in Raha?
Let them be ruled by the bolters? Must the 5,000 survivors just die in this war-torn land?
Must the 1,000-man force, with 1/3 of soldiers,
having no weapons, retreat to the mountains,
and just survive by guerrilla warfare?
Reality is always cruel. The survivors joining the Houthis. Avoiding death in the Yemeni chaos. Taking up arms against the bolters. Avenge their dead families.
Justice must prevail.
The Houthis growing stronger. Breaking free from Western control. Under Houthi leadership.
Yemen moving toward independence and prosperity.
That only happens in fairy tales. The reality is, the bolters control Aden with Western military aid, using the chance to drive the Houthis into the mountains, showing off their combat vehicles.
The survivors can't get revenge.
They can only struggle to lie. The Houthis will eventually be crushed by the well-equipped bolter group, supported by the West, blocking all supply routes, eventually destroying the province and the oil fields, including the people living here, all becoming spoils for the West. A life of misery.
Unless another miracle happens.
In the lie she trim.
The 200,000 viewers are tragic.
Full of sympathy for the Yemeni people.
Countless comments flood the screen.
The conclusion is clear. The streamer they mocked earlier is the only one who can save them? The Houthis, Raha, and the entire nation of Yemen.
Streamer, we were wrong.
Please help the survivors.
They are so pitiful.
The damn West, for the sake of oil, doesn't care about human life.
Streamer, we truly believe.
You are a scrap dealer who makes weapons from junk. We won't report you. The drones the Houthis got, aren't they from the White Elephant Nation? What does it have to do with China? People have empathy, especially in the last century. Lie the Yemeni people. Young people colonized by the West.
China is strong now.
The West doesn't dare mess with us. But there are still many countries like Yemen, in the midst of war, suffering in the third world. Streamer, help Yemen. Streamer, help the Houthis. Streamer, help our third world brothers. Strangely,
Lin Hao is like a monk in meditation.
No reaction to the pleas. Lin Hao didn't hear Malik or the soldiers, or the survivors' pleas, and ignored the flood of comments.
As the SOC value broke 200,000,
the system's electronic voice rings out.
Ding. Congratulations, Lin Hao. SOC value exceeded 200,000. System upgraded, tech tree unlocked. Details available for viewing. This catches Lin Hao's attention. When the system first awakened,
it only gave a rough overview. And conversion rates. I didn't expect
that after 200,000 SOC value,
the tech tree would unlock. With a thought, a detailed system interface appears.
Host, Lin Hao. Human stats, strength 7, intelligence 9, combat 1.
Combat ability, average human.
Unlocked content.
Drones, rocket launchers, starter pack.
Military base level 1.
Military tech unlocked.
Assault rifles, submachine guns, pistols.
Level 3 soft body armor unlocked. Click here for details.
Lin Hao is surprised. Good stuff.
The system is more complex than I thought. I bragged earlier, saying if the money is there,
I could build a nuclear carrier or a nuke. Maybe it could become reality. But according to the system, high-end gear like 5th-gen fighters require a level 3 base and the corresponding tech tree to assemble and refurbish. Whether it's upgrading the base or unlocking the tech, the SOC value needed is astronomical. The only good news is, as the base level increases, the conversion rate for money will drop significantly. As for the personal stat increase, Lin Hao doesn't care much. With China's protection, I just want to be a remote commander, a global arms tycoon. Combat, weapons handling, physical stats. What does that have to do with me? Do I, a future global arms tycoon, a brain worker selling weapons worldwide, need to go to the Middle East or the West to negotiate? Spent 10 minutes reviewing the upgraded system. After reading the details, Lin Hao is in a great mood, especially thinking about the West's zero-doula shopping, the rioters every day, providing them with weapons. In that country that causes trouble everywhere, setting off fireworks constantly, he can't help but smile. But Lin Hao forgot he's still live. With 200,000 viewers, the streamer smiled, a very contemptuous and evil smile. I feel like he has a solution. Dear Mr. Malik, ask the streamer quickly. For the Houthis, for the survivors of Ajlan, for the peace of Yemen. Put some pressure on him. Malik is a smart man. He uses a few words to pull Lin Hao back from his daydreams. Dear Mr. Streamer, I know you are a true god, a divine messenger walking on earth. For the plight of the Houthis and Yemen, you can surely save me again. Then, Malik says 4 words seriously. In his few dealings with Lin Hao, these 4 words work perfectly. We'll pay more. Just that, Lin Hao snaps back to reality, pulling his thoughts back. He scans the comments. Understanding the Houthis' plight, he knows what to do. Dear Mr. Malik, I understand your problem. Simply put, you lack enough infantry weapons, right? I can take care of that. Before Lin Hao could even speak, before Malik even had a chance to say a word, the chat was already flooding with people guessing Lin Hao's plan. It's a big problem, but as long as you pay more, then it's no problem, right? Sure enough, as long as you pay more, this streamer can solve anything. I used to think his talk about paying more was just a scam, but now I'm certain, as long as you pay more, pay enough money, pay an amount that would scare people to death, the streamer might actually be able to whip up a 5th-gen fighter, a nuclear carrier, or an ICBM. By the way, Malik never revealed the streamer's real name. Why don't we just call him Master Paymore? I'm starting to suspect that Master Paymore is backed by the state, by the military of a mysterious Eastern superpower. Otherwise, how could he produce all these military weapons? Exactly, he's definitely backed by the Eastern superpower. The guy from the land of the Indians is right. It's actually the land of the Indians meddling in the Middle East. I can prove it. None of the streamer's weapons are made in China. They're all from that legendary Eastern superpower, the land of the Indians. Good grief, these viewers are really willing to take the heat for him. Lin Hao hadn't even come up with an excuse yet to explain how so many weapons were being sold to the Middle East, and his viewers were already pinning the blame on the Indians. Lin Hao was quite pleased with this. He didn't intend to turn down their help. Between the 2 major neighboring powers in Asia, China is recognized worldwide as an ancient civilization with thousands of years of history, reserved, low-key, and preferring to get rich quietly, biding its time. But the other great power that claims a long history, the land of the Indians, has been colonized by countless foreign civilizations for over a millennium. Even their ethnic makeup has changed several times. They love to brag about everything, built 2 carriers with parts from all over the world, and they broke down before even leaving the harbor. But that doesn't stop them from boasting about their long history and top-tier military strength, claiming they can go toe-to-toe with China. Watching his viewers frantically make up excuses and dump the blame on the Indians, Lin Hao muttered to himself, are these viewers all graduates of the Strategic Deception Bureau? But his face remained calm and composed. That's right, any military equipment the Houthis receive is all shipped from the land of the Indians. I'm just a streamer who refurbishes second-hand junk online, making large-scale models, a law-abiding Chinese streamer. By the way, dear Mr. Malik, let me consider what kind of infantry weapons I should provide for you. Please, wait a moment. Having just labeled himself a legal refurbisher of second-hand junk, Lin Hao was already looking through the system store, planning to pick out some decent infantry weapons. After consulting with the Houthi leader, Malik, to prepare for mass production and sales, he looked calm, composed, and elegant, with no hint of being an illegal arms dealer. In Lin Hao's system directory, among the unlocked level 1 military-based technologies, the weapon categories that could be refurbished from junk were very limited. Aside from the drones and rocket launchers that came as a starter pack, almost all other available military weapons were mainstream firearms from the early 20th century to the 1970s. Lin Hao was a bit stunned after looking through them. If not for the fact that he was live streaming to nearly 200,000 pairs of eyes, he would have roared at the system. Helpless, he could only ask silently, System, what kind of trash are you listing for me? M1 Garand semi-automatic rifles? Kar 98K bolt-action rifles? There's even a Nambu pistol from World War II. Even if we don't have our Chinese Type 95s, at least give me an M401 carbine to set up for our Houthi brothers. In response to Lin Hao's outburst, the system coldly generated text before his eyes, shutting him down. Please note, host, the currently unlocked military research skills can only provide infantry weapons from before the 1970s. The Chinese Type 95 was finalized in the 80s, mass-produced in the 90s. The American M4 carbine was produced in the early 90s. The K2 assault rifle was widely equipped in the mid-80s. If you need to upgrade the infantry weapon research tree, please spend 200,000 SOC points. Damn it, Lin Hao was left speechless by this heartless system. He had no temper left, so the starter pack with the drones and rocket launchers was just to lure him in, right? This system is just like a mobile game developer, giving out freebies to get you hooked. And once you had your fun, if you want to keep dominating, you have to pay up to use your superpowers. Lin Hao cursed internally. The viewers call him Master Paymore, but the real king of pay-to-win is this system. He'd been at this for so long, and finally scraped together 200,000 SOC points, which was only enough to unlock 21st century infantry weapons. Looking at those aggressive, powerful main battle tanks, naval ships, and fighter jets, Lin Hao didn't even dare to trek the cost, but he had to deliver on his promises. If he wanted to become an arms tycoon, he had to support the Houthis, make them the core, expand the market, earn massive amounts of currency, grow his she trim, and harvest SOC points from viewers worldwide.
After much deliberation, Lin Hao announced a weapon. Dear Mr. Malik,
Considering the complex line of war environment in the Middle East, advanced weapons are hard to maintain and repair.
Also, they are too precise, and your men wouldn't be able to use them quickly.
So, the weapon I've chosen for you is a legendary classic, the AK-47, born in the late 1940s.
What do you think? The viewers felt like they'd waited for a master chef, only to be served a simple stir-fried pork with peppers.
It's not that stir-fried pork is bad. On the contrary, the AK-47 is great.
For someone starving, that dish is the best thing to have with rice.
For the Houthis, in their difficult conditions, the rugged, durable, and simple AK-47 is undoubtedly the best choice.
But Lin Hao had built up so much hype, only to serve up an AK-47,
which was a huge letdown for their expectations. Sure enough, Malik looked a bit disappointed. Among our 1,000 Houthi soldiers,
although we only have 300 rifles, half of them are AK-47s. This model is classic and durable, but most of the ones on the market are very old. The parts are loose. Most are missing pieces,
and they risk jamming or even exploding. That's fatal on the battlefield.
Before Malik could finish, Lin Hao immediately added, I'm providing brand new AKs.
With key parts reinforced with alloys.
They'll last at least 10 years.
20 years without any issues. Brand new AKs. The disappointment on Malik's face began to fade. If it's only 100 or 200 new AK-47s, it might not help much. 10,000 brand new AK-47s. Lin Hao once again gave Malik an unexpected surprise. 10,000 AK-47s plus 10 drones.
And the rocket launcher trucks
are enough to go toe-to-toe with the Bolt military group.
This night raid will definitely alert them. I estimate
their original plan to attack Raha City within 10 days
will be pushed back to about 20 days. In such a short time,
and manufacturing them in China, delivering 10,000 reinforced AK-47s
to Raha City. That sounds like a difficult task.
50 days, at most 50 days, 10,000 AK-47s, plus 9 drones and the rocket launchers,
all packed and delivered.
Malik couldn't hide the smile on his face.
My dear Mr. Streamer,
you truly are a messenger sent by God to save us. If you can deliver all the equipment within 15 days as promised, we will definitely be able to repel the Bolt military group.
Seeing Malik overjoyed,
Lin Hao immediately changed his tone.
Of course, dear Mr. Malik,
you know getting so many weapons in such a short time
is quite difficult, so you'll have to pay more. If, as you promised, you deliver all weapons within 15 days,
we can definitely repel the Bolt military group.
Seeing Malik overjoyed,
Lin Hao immediately changed his tune.
Of course, dear Mr. Malik, you know getting a large batch of weapons in such a short time
is tough, so we'll need more money.